All right. So I guess first question a lot of people actually had was what is the different trainings that your staff is required to go through in order to work in the dining halls and to be able to really know the allergens present in the different food?
hmm so good question. So obviously everybody goes through a food safety training, in addition to the allergen training, which kind of overlaps. So all of our staff members, no matter who they are upon hire, we have an in-house training that was created years ago by the dietitian. It's been revamped by me, updated, and they take that online upon hire. And then every single level from, dishwashers up to upper management has to take that annually. Um, and then I also do training through AllerTrain. I don't know if through MenuTrinfo. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. Um,
Personally, no, I'm not.
okay. It's a really good organization. They have a lot of trainings, and that's actually who Libby Hall is certified through as well. But I do a manager level training for our sous chef level employees and above for that, and that's like a 3 hour training with an exam at the end, and they're certified for 3 years once they pass the exam. And then I have a little bit lower level training for like our headline cooks and things like that. Very similar training, but it doesn't go into quite as much detail because they don't necessarily need that extra detail. So that's done with that level of staff as well, because that staff creates menus, and they're back there at their own stations. They obviously need to know the ins and outs of all that. So is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, I guess the
Yeah.
other question is what about like the front line where they're the servers?
hmm Yeah,
What
so they do the same trainings. So frontline would be our sous chefs, headline cooks, and then the servers do the annual training. And then there's always ongoing education training on the spot type stuff as well. So it's not like we just train you and or train them and leave them to their own devices. So it's always monitored and um,
that makes
yeah.
sense. So you said basically the trainings are good for the higher ups, it's good for 3 years, and for frontline, it's every year they have refreshers.
Yes, yes. And even the upper level, actually all staff have to retake the training, our online in-house training annually.
All right.
The other 3 year certification is in addition to that. So
So then I guess another one that came up a lot was what are the protocols in place to prevent cross contact during food preparation from the time where you acquire the ingredients till the time it's on the plates?
okay. So kind of, I'm sure when you were in the C4C, you saw that there's individual stations.
Yes.
So most of the food at those stations is prepared at those stations. They are prepared in a process to um, not have cross contact happen. So that's why we say students and visitors can ask for product from the warmers and coolers that haven't been out on the line yet. So we use, separate utensils, barriers, glove changes, hand washing, all that, all those protocols. And, we aren't going to prepare a sandwich next to some plain chicken breasts or things like that. The surface is cleaned in between and all that. So,
Makes sense. And this one actually came in from a dietitian who focuses on celiac disease.
okay.
And this question they asked was, does your safety measures specifically account for cross contact during preparation, or is the focus primarily on the selection of gluten-free ingredients and whether or not you test initial products and final products for allergens using any of the testing kits available?
Mm-hmm. So, the initial question of cross contact, we take both into account back of the house, front of the house. Um, as far as testing foods for C4C, I mean, it's not an allergen-free dining hall, as you saw.
Yeah.
You know, we take protocols and precautions, you know, we to prevent cross contact. So we don't test things at C4C. Libby's a different story. Libby is certified gluten-free, wheat-free, peanut and tree nut-free. So every item that you know is even ordered for Libby, used at Libby, it's screened before it even goes in that door to that kitchen. It's screened by me, whether it be reaching out to, well, I do reach out to every single company that for every single product that's used in that facility to vet it, make sure that their manufacturing protocols follow, you know, everything and make sure that, you know, the food isn't contaminated with those things when it comes in. I also do monthly surface testing
Oh, wow.
at Libby. So, and this is in order to keep our certification. We are certified through Menu Trinfo or certified free from program. So I do surface testing monthly for the peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, and gluten, and then I have to submit those results every month to Menu Trinfo. And it's basically surface swab testing. I don't test actual food because those allergens don't enter enter that facility. So that's the type of testing that is done at Libby. I don't do surface testing elsewhere because we're not certified anywhere else. We just follow the protocols of preventing cross contact. So,
so then one thing I had noticed when I was in C4C and what was it, Willville,
mhm.
that you guys have a dedicated section for gluten-free toasters and microwaves. Is this standard across all the dining halls on campus?
So C4C Village Center and Sewell. Sewell is over by our rec center. It's smaller, much smaller than Village Center or C4C. But those are the three all you care to eat residential dining areas. So Sewell's is much smaller than the other two you saw, but it is there. Yeah.
Right. So everywhere has the gluten-free toasters and dedicated condiments.
Correct. Yeah. And we do have dedicated condiments even like at our grab and go. So I don't think CU on the Run was open when you were
No,
here. But we do offer gluten-free wraps and sandwiches and pizzas over there. And we have separate like meats and cheeses and lettuce, tomato, all that. And then we use the barriers and whatnot. So that's a protocol across even our grab and goes and all of our dining halls as well. So
actually, going off that, you mentioned pizza. I know at C4C I had seen that you guys offer gluten-free pizzas. They're not prepared in a separate oven. What is the protocol though for that then, for the pizzas?
So the pizzas are prepared at the grab and go. They're not prepared in that wood fire oven that you saw at the Italian station. So they take them over to CU on the Run right there, and they'll put them on a clean pan, you know, it's run through the oven where other stuff is run, but it is put on a separate surface, so that there's no contact with surface in there. And that the oven is cleaned on a regular basis as well.
So I guess we can probably skip this. So as you said, you personally take into account the process of verifying the ingredients for gluten-free status. And I guess this is an ongoing thing, right? This is not like once a month. This is fairly regularly you're checking with manufacturers
For Libby dining,
for Libby, and also if you're getting ingredients for other dining halls, do you also do a similar level to when they put allergen labels? If they're labeling something as not containing gluten,
mhm.
how frequently are you checking for the other dining halls, the allergens in the different ingredients?
So I see the ingredient list and our chefs see the ingredient list that come in. And did you look at NutriSlice at all or menu
A
site?
little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Seen
So
that have very strong labeling of exactly which allergens or dietary restrictions may be present in it.
mhm. Yeah. So how it kind of works is when we get products in, I go in and I enter the ingredients as well as the allergens into our other back of the house system. And that's what filters over to NutraSlice and shows all those allergens you saw on there. And the full ingredient list filters over there. That is how I screen products that come into the other dining halls. I don't reach out to every manufacturer. It, I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of products in those dining halls. So I don't reach out to every manufacturer in those. A lot of the products, though, that we do use, like in the C4C and whatnot, we also use at Libby. So they are because of Libby, they are vetted.
That's,
Anything that says that it may contain, you know, since we're focusing on gluten, may contain wheat, gluten,
yep.
that is put on the labels. That is put as an allergen. So,
So in other
yeah,
words,
or if, may contain peanuts or tree nuts or things.
if a product you purchase, if an ingredient has a may contain label, you will put onto the actual label on your dish that it contains this allergen.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And I know that, the precautionary statements aren't regulated by the FDA.
No, but
Um,
it's very
there's hundreds of
appreciated.
them out there.
But no, that's very much appreciated that you guys take
Yeah.
the precaution that this way, even if it's just a small chance it might contain this allergen,
Mhm.
great to know as somebody with celiac disease. It was definitely great going in and seeing how much detail the allergen labels had you just from putting stuff up.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to hear that you guys use the take the may contain seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. So,
So you guys have included gluten as one of the top 9 allergens in your labels.
mhm.
Is there anything else students or prospective students should know when they're looking at these labels, how to navigate which foods they should or shouldn't be able to eat based on their allergens?
What do you mean? Anything else they should
Like
know other
anything
than,
they should know other than just what's on the label itself? Is there anything they should know when
um,
picking food at the dining halls?
other than the labels, like I mentioned earlier, if a student is still afraid of cross contact because it is an all you care to eat facility, right? And
Yep.
there's people that do weird things on the, serving themselves.
Food
They
falls.
can, what's that?
Food falls sometimes.
Yes, food falls, food splatters. The customer can ask for fresh product that has not been out on that line and has not had the potential to have cross contact occur. We do have staff that are always monitoring things. So if there is a splatter of an allergen product, you know, that contaminated something or had cross contact, we will pull it. However, as you know, it gets very crowded in there. It's hard to constantly have eyes on it. But when they see it, they pull it, they put new utensils out. Um, and I would just say too to customers to be vigilant of the people around you, watch what they're doing.
Excellent.
And if you feel like what they're doing around you isn't safe, then by all means ask us for fresh product. And that's for all of our dining halls on campus, not just C4C. So
So then, is it standard for the staff to be asked to prepare fresh food in the back if somebody is concerned? I remember, for example, when I went to the kosher cafeteria, they would have, what was it, salmon teriyaki, I think, that contained gluten. So when I went, I oftentimes they were willing to grab fresh salmon from the back to prepare without the sauce. Is that normal for the different across the different dining halls that somebody could request something like that, or is that more just when they're not super busy?
that's that's more for when they're not super busy. Because so often when school starts, our dining hall, like specifically C4C, will be at capacity, and there's times we have to close the doors and can't let anyone else in. That's like 2,000, 3,000 people in there. Um, so as you can imagine, we can't be preparing specific items for everybody, but again, we can pull fresh product, for students that have not been, in contact with gluten or whatever allergen they have.
Okay,
Um, I mean, and we have so many items that are gluten free, that are allergen free already, that they should be able to find what they need. So
Yes. Then going off that, are there times of day you recommend if students are able to try and schedule their meals a bit more? Are there certain times you would recommend people with allergies who may want food from the back or possibly even fresh food prepared to go to the dining halls?
so they can always get food from the back no matter what time of day it is. It just might be more crowded at one time or the other. The crowds do die down after the first couple weeks of school. But usually, and unless they're changing class schedule times, but usually between 11 and 12 for lunchtime. And then again at like 2-ish, probably. Um, Dinner would probably be around your normal dinner times, like 5, 6, 7. There's going to be quite a bit of people in there. Breakfast is never really super crowded. I mean, there can be a lot, but it's not like lunch and yeah, and dinner. So yeah, it would just be figuring out their class schedule. And honestly, I usually tell students that have allergies those first couple of weeks of school that there are other places to eat besides the C4C. You know, there is Libby, there is the grab and goes, there's now the food trailer that has a whole gluten-free menu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's other places to eat that might make people less anxious initially.
Okay. So I guess one big question, what prompted all of this? What prompted the university to take allergens and all these protocols so seriously? Because I've seen other universities that really don't seem to have this level of strict regulations in place.
Yeah, so this all started before I came here. I've been here about 8 years. It was probably started 10 years before that. So they really were ahead of the game because that was pretty unheard of back then. There is universities obviously now that label and all that. Um, I would assume because I wasn't here that they probably saw the constant uptick of students with food allergies and celiac disease and figured, we should be accommodating these students. The other reason most likely would have been with the ADA coming out saying that, food allergies and celiac disease is a disability and you have to accommodate these students in some way, shape, or form. And I'm assuming that that's also what caused this push. We just obviously have gone a little bit further than just the basics. The reason, so I was here when we opened Libby and when we decided to make Libby free from or certified free from. It actually has always been free from those allergies. It was just last year we actually certified it.
What prompted the
Um,
certification?
Initially, it was like we were actually opening it back up. So there was always a dining hall in there that closed down when C4C was built. We opened it back up as an overflow for C4C. In that process, I was kind of talking with the director at the time, and we decided like, hey, I think it might be a good thing if we have somewhere where these, kids can feel even more safe type of thing. And I knew there was an uptick, and there continues to be an uptick every year of food allergies and celiac, majorly with celiac.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of what prompted that. And then we went one step further of, hey, let's, nobody else offers actually the certified free from in Colorado. So, let's offer that to students, let's make them feel even more safe. So I guess does that answer your question
Definitely.
okay.
And then I guess one thing I noticed, the fryers in C4C, it seems, and a lot of the dining halls, you guys don't really fry anything that contains gluten, right?
We do have separate fryers from like the French fries, like for chicken nugget day. They do have a fried fish, but that's done in a different fryer. And then the oil is emptied after those days because we don't want to contaminate anything with fish allergens or gluten.
Makes sense.
Um, Another reason that we don't fry like the meat with the French fries is if we did that, the French fries are no longer vegetarian or vegan. So in addition to allergens, there's other things,
Fair.
thought process into it as well. So
That was definitely greatly appreciated, meaning
yeah,
actually being able to have fried foods.
yeah. And then
Great.
yeah, kind of a cool thing about Libby too, and I know you're at C4C, but they'll do like chicken finger day at Libby. So it's stuff that students can't get elsewhere and can feel safe about. So,
The other one I was surprised is in, I think it's Village Crown, the only pancakes they ever served were gluten-free.
so yeah, Village Center, you mean?
Village Center.
Actually, all of our pancakes in all of our dining halls are gluten-free across campus. So C4C, Village Center, Sewell, those are the only ones that serve pancakes, I believe. So we use the Bob's Red Mill gluten-free pancake batter, and they kind of doctor it up to make it taste better. But yeah,
Okay, I was very
yeah,
impressed.
protocol across campus. All of our pancakes are gluten-free. So
I was impressed, and some of my friends on the program who aren't gluten-free, that when they saw me eating, they were shocked. They're like, "Wait, how can you eat pancakes here?" They were very surprised. They were very shocked because they didn't even know it was gluten-free.
yeah, they actually, I wasn't here when they instituted that either, but they actually found that these tasted better than the other pancake batter they were using, so they just went ahead with this one.
Fair enough. So I guess for students or prospective students looking to come here, who would be their primary point of contact if they had questions or concerns about eating on campus?
So it would be me. And then, if they're on campus and for some reason I'm unavailable, any of our managers, like you found out that, or, managers, the head chefs, things like that are also a great resource. But I would be the initial contact. If they have other questions, like about housing accommodations as far as food allergies are concerned, or if they still have concerns about dining, they can always contact our disability services housing accommodations as well. And kind of start that process too. And I work very closely with them. So,
I know where we stayed was Darley North. Do
mhm,
the dorms come with fridges and microwaves?
they do. Yep. And then often students with food allergies or celiac will request a second refrigerator so they can keep their food separate from their roommate. And that's done through accommodations, but it's generally approved. So,
What is the most important message you would give or like to share with students and prospective students regarding your team's daily commitment to their safety when it comes to dining with allergies?
um, so I think the most important thing is to know that we are there for them, and we want them to be successful in their academic career, especially their first year. And we know they have to eat with us. And so we want them to be safe dining with us. So we do take the precautions, and we want them to ask questions and ask us for fresh product, get to know us, advocate for yourself. That's a very big one. Advocate for yourself. Because I know a lot of students come in and they have never really had to do that before.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. But the main thing I guess I would want people to know is that we do take the food allergies very seriously. Um, but at the same time, we need communication from the student and the customer to let us know that they have the allergy as well, so that we can make sure that they're as safe as possible.
Yeah.
So, and that there's students with food allergies that come here every year, hundreds of them, that eat here safely all the time. So,
Hell, I will say I'm an example. I was there for 2 weeks, didn't have any issues.
well, good. I'm glad. Good to hear that. Um, we do have a really good website too that actually can walk students through like the A9 labels you saw, walk them through NutriSlice, and there's actually a video that walks through like how we do the allergen protocols and things like that, which I can send you that link if that'd be helpful if you want
That
to
would be
include
great.
that.
That would be great,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
And I guess finally, what reassurances can you provide to students who may be concerned or even scared about eating on campus for the first time?
So, kind of going back to what I just said, is that we do take the allergies very seriously. I know it can be super scary again when this is the first time being on your own. You don't have your parents to help look out for you. But advocating again for themselves is super important, connecting with myself.
Yep.
Often it really does help if a student can connect with me or another member of management to walk them around the dining hall and show them the different areas and um, meet the chefs and tell them our protocols and what they can do. And they often will feel a lot more comfortable seeing it in person. So to take advantage of that.
Are you regularly in the dining halls if a student wanted to come find you?
I'm not up there all the time, but my office is in the C4C. So the managers can come find me or they'll message me to come up or whatever. So they do have my business card up there too, so students can contact me as well.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me and discuss all these different protocols you guys have implemented. I
Yeah,
was definitely very pleasantly surprised when I first got there and really, even though I'd done a bit of research beforehand, it's still always shocking to see just how well a university can do at accommodating these kinds of allergies and dietary restrictions. So I definitely
yeah,
personally very much appreciate everything you guys have done.
yeah. And I guess I didn't put this in there too, but as far as our recipe and menu development, one of the first things that goes through our mind are like when I see the recipe of a chef is this allergy friendly? Can we make this celiac friendly? Can we, things like that. That's how we also plan our menu so that it makes it easier across the board for students to eat with us. So
No, it was definitely great and definitely surprised by the amount of gluten-free baked goods you guys have and all the other just the fact that you guys have take even thought about having a full separate section of every dining hall where I could go toast bread and grab bread even
right.
and how quickly and quick and accommodating all the staff are about if you ask for fresh from the back, they were always quick and very happy to grab whatever you wanted.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that. So we really try to push that message out there to staff and train them. And so it's nice to hear that it's happening
Oh,
too.
no, it's really good. And the other one that was always shocking is some different staff members would come find me if and tell me, "Oh, I told you this wasn't gluten free. It turns out it actually is," kind of thing, and always
Okay.
apologizing if they were giving. They would say like, "I'm not positive," but I would say, "Don't eat it," and then maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, they would come find me and say, "So I just double checked everything, and turns out the fryers are gluten free. The sauce I was concerned about actually is. We double checked the recipe."
Hmm.
And
Good.
they were very quick. They would always come find you and let you know that they were overly cautious. And that's what
Yeah.
I was glad about is that they would always be very upfront to say, I would, I'm not positive, so I would say don't eat this as opposed to the alternative of I think it's gluten free.
Yeah. And that's something else that I really have instilled in our staff and our management has instilled that, if you don't know, tell them customer you don't know, and then you look into it for them. So I'm glad that that was your
Yes.
experience as
My
well.
experience was always if they weren't sure, they would advise me against eating something as opposed to,
Okay.
which was a great experience that I'm very
Hmm.
grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that was your actual experience.
Yep. Oh, it was a wonderful experience.
Good. Good.
And thank you so
Oh,
much for taking the time to meet with me and discuss
yeah,
all.
you're welcome.